Don't ask me how. We are already in June of 2022. It's always insane to me, and I say it every single year. It's insane how the first half of the year passes by so quickly. But here we are in June. And so I'm going to be doing a tarot reading for the month ahead for June 2022. Some notable points. Really what's happening in this month is we are embodying this Gemini energy. We've been in Gemini season until about May 21st-ish. And not only are we in the middle of Gemini season, but Mercury is re-entered into Gemini and Venus will be entering Gemini as well. So we've got a lot of energy in this Gemini. And Gemini is underrated in that it is a witness. It witnesses behavior, it witnesses information, it absorbs information just out of curiosity, just out of a desire to know, a need to know. And so Gemini can be put or pegged under like nosy or gossiper, but really it's the love of information that keeps Gemini going. And then we're also going to be transitioning into Cancer season. So all of this Gemini witnessing, absorbing information is then being enhanced by the need to feel emotionally secure and emotionally involved. So where we've just come off of Mercury retrograde, it's going to be going direct on June 3rd. That means that everything that we've been reassessing since May 10th now has come to a point where we can make decisions. But then Saturn goes retrograde on June 4th. So we get 1 day of the direct, but then Saturn is going retrograde on June 4th. So really teaching us those inner karmic lessons that we are learning. We've been able to review, reassess, reflect as much as Mercury retrograde wanted us to. And now Saturn is sort of saying, okay, it's almost like a higher octave of that Mercury retrograde, saying, all right, now it's time to really do the intense work and to prove that you have learned the lessons and that you are growing through these reflections that you've done. So the first 10 days of June, we're in the thick of Gemini season. Mercury goes direct, Saturn goes retrograde. And then in the second third of June, we are at the end of Gemini season. Venus is entering Gemini. We're having a lot in this Gemini energy of needing to collect information, of needing to understand and absorb our surroundings. A lot of flitty energy. Maybe we're feeling a little scatterbrained, but we're finding connections with people around us. We're finding that conversation and communication are really at the forefront, making connections with people within our neighborhood or like your siblings even. So that second third of this month is really where we're going to get into that Gemini energy and really attracting connections with others. And then in that last third of June is when it becomes Cancer season. And that's when we are settling into our feelings. When we have been so reflective and so information-based, almost rational, Cancer is going to just nip that right in the bud. Cancer is going to say, okay, but time to really assess how you're feeling, where you're feeling safe, where you're feeling unsafe. How is the concept of security really coming up for you? So that's just a really general overview of June. If you want to know like day-to-day astrology information, feel free to follow me on Instagram at mimis.me. I talk about the astrology of the current events in my stories pretty much every day. You can always ask me questions if you're like, what the heck does this mean? I'm always here. I love talking astrology with you guys. Other things to bring up, as always, still doing my giveaway. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I am announcing 7 winners who are winning different readings, tarot, astrology, numerology, even a couple Reiki sessions, and a gift certificate. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to this channel, go follow me on Instagram at mimis.me, and then let me know that you did those things in the comments below, and I will put you on the list, and when I announce the winners, you may be one of them. So pretty exciting stuff. I'm getting so close to this 1,000 subscriber mark. It's like pretty insane. Next announcement, if you don't already know, if you are new here or if you usually skip the intros, but you chose not to this time just by sheer chance, I do have an astrology podcast where we take on a more relaxed approach to teaching astrology and making astrology accessible to the average person. So if you feel really overwhelmed by all of the information that astrology has, or if it feels too complicated, we really try and bring it to a level that everybody can understand and so that it's approachable for everybody. But if you still feel like you need a one-on-one education of astrology or tarot, I do offer private tutoring sessions. You can book 1 at a time or you can book 4 at a time with a 20% discount. All right, so I've got your 3 piles on the table. I'm really excited to see what June has got in store for you, so let's get going. All right, so we are using this Crystal Wisdom little deck to choose your piles. So pile 1 is this red card. Pile 2 is this clear card. And pile 3, this green crystal card. All right, pile 1, you chose this guy, which is Fire Agate. This has been a fun deck to play with. The affirmation: I allow the creativity of my soul to shine through into my world. That's beautiful. It's almost like the creativity that's very Piscean, the creativity of your soul, but allowing it to shine through into your world, into the physical manifestation of your world. And that's quite Leo to me. So if you've got any Pisces Leo in you, Fire Agate, because it's red, it normally just gives me like fire signs. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So this inner world, this inner creativity that you have really shining and showing itself through the world. So let's look at what the major themes of June are going to be like for you. Major themes, pile 1. Oh. There we go. We've got the Lovers and we've got the Star. Okay, well, instantly I felt someone has a connection with an Aquarius person that is really being highlighted for this June season. Almost like Mercury retrograde, you met somebody who was an Aquarius, or you were having altercations or confrontations or just sort of experiences with an Aquarius person. And this seems to be like a major lesson that you're learning throughout this month. Maybe that's Saturn retrograde. Saturn is in Aquarius. So maybe you're really learning lessons when it comes to the Aquarians in your life. So you did get the Lovers, which is a Gemini card. And you also got the Star, which is an Aquarius card. So this air energy, I almost feel like this detachment. And this Lovers card has always seemed kind of codependent to me. It's always seemed very like they are intertwined, they're entangled with each other. There's no separation. And this Star has always been an influx of separation. It's almost a detachment that Aquarius does tend to have. And most air signs tend to have like this detachment from an emotional situation because they're seeing it from a place of logic, of reason, of information. And that's very Gemini season as well. So I almost feel like the theme of this month for you is detachment versus codependence, the attachment versus detachment style. How are you finding yourself to be so entangled with the people in your life? And like I mentioned in the intro section of this video, Gemini season is going to be so pushy when it comes to connecting with the people around you, with your surroundings, your community, your neighborhood, walking down the street and seeing a bunch of people in your apartment building, connecting with the people who live a very similar lifestyle as you. And so I think that there's some level of dissociation or association that you are dealing with this month. Like, how do I relate to these people around me? Maybe you're even feeling like you don't belong where you're living, or you don't belong in the group that you're in right now, but it's actually the opposite. Like, you do belong here, and trying to flip that perspective or how you're seeing your surroundings into like a perspective that you can relate to. So I almost feel like that Aquarian theme of not belonging, of being different from everybody else, of standing out in a negative way is going to be a major theme for you in June. But it's really about finding your one-on-one connections. The Lovers is about a one-on-one deep connection that you are finding, and the responsibility that you take to make those connections last. How are you what energy are you putting into your friendships? What energy are you putting into your relationships this month? And how can you be more responsible? How can you make the right choice and not separate yourself so much from those connections? So let's look at the first third of the month, June 1st to 10th. Let's see what's going on for you, pile 1. Oh my God, I'm feeling the Gemini energy. I'm just over here shuffling like crazy. This card wants to stay out. Okay. Oh, no. Too many. Okay. So the first card that you got out for this first third of June, we got the High Priestess, connection with your divine self. I almost think that for this first third of the month, June 1st to June 10th, you are going to want to separate yourself. You're going to want to detach like this Star, not be so close to everybody in your surroundings. You're going to want personal space. You're going to want me time, because you're really going to need to connect with you, connecting with your inner self rather than absorbing everybody else's information, right? Gemini is an information information absorber, but I almost feel like you're absorbing the energy of other people in a more Piscean way, like we kind of got from that fire agate. And so I think it's important for you to connect with your inner self, with your soul, right? That Pisces energy that came through earlier, but also Leo, in that it's connecting with your true self and being able to say, this is me. I am being myself. I am expressing myself. And so that's the card that fell face up. I think that if you do read tarot or runes, or you have any sort of mystical practices in your life, I feel like you may find yourself to be a bit of a recluse during this period, where you separate yourself out, almost like a Cancer energy of like, I just want to be in my little cave. I want to feel safe. I want to feel nurtured by myself. Hermit mode. Let's see what else we got. The 3 of Cups and the 9 of Cups. Wow, I feel like you are manifesting the perfect friendships for you in this first third of June. Like by doing this, by connecting with yourself, by separating yourself from those more toxic relationships or relationships that are very codependent. Doesn't mean you're separating yourself from the people, but you're separating yourself from that codependent nature. By separating yourself from people and letting you connect to who you are, to your soul on a spiritual level, you are really putting in your wishes to the universe to find the right people for you. This 3 of Cups is all about rejoice in community, in finding your coven, your clan, your group of strong-minded women in this case, under the full moon. So this High Priestess is like, I need to find more people like me. And look at this imagery. It almost looks like she's divining from the moon. And then we have these 3 witches under the moon, enjoying their drink, playing with their cats in a creek. Like they are so indulgent in their own divine power. And this 9 of Cups is the wish card, making your wishes, putting your orders into the universe. And Gemini rules our social circles. It rules our friend groups, our smaller friend groups, our closer knit ones. And so using this Gemini, the thick of Gemini season, to really manifest those meaningful friendships and meaningful relationships. If you're single and you're looking for a partner, I almost think that this would be a good time for you to seek partnerships in your friendships. Because you may be surprised, right? That Aquarius crazy never would have expected. You may be surprised by those people that actually turn out to be your partners in life. So the first third of June, I think, is going to bring you a lot of me time. You're really connecting with you, but what you're doing by connecting with you is you're manifesting the perfect relationships. All right, the second third of June. Let's see what we got. Second third of June. This guy we're going to look at. 5 of Wands. Wow. Okay, well, I definitely saw some protest. So I don't know if that's going to be happening in the world, that there's going to be some protesting in the world. This guy. Wow. So we got the 5 of Wands, this protest. I almost feel like if it's not on a worldly level, it's on a personal level, that you are rebelling against what you have always been taught. You are rebelling against conditioned behavior, learned behavior. And now you are standing up and saying, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. And it may cause conflict with people from your past, or may cause conflict with even your parents who, don't understand what you're doing or what you're going through. And they think you're just causing a ruckus or causing drama or trouble. And for you, it's really about, we've got the Hermit here, it's about letting this light shine. About, it doesn't matter how other people react, you have to speak your truth. You have to live from your truth. And the Hermit is a Virgo card, so it can be very self-critical, but it's about allowing the purity of you to come through and not critiquing that purity. And then we also have strength. So it is going to take strength. It's going to be a time for you to really showcase that Leo fierceness, not just loyalty to others, but loyalty to yourself. Wow. And I'm kind of feeling like there will be some protests at this point in the month, like in wherever we're, in the world. And so, maybe seeing how that triggers you or how that brings things up for you, right? Triggers don't always have to be a negative thing, but trigger is just like an impartial, oh, this makes me feel a certain way, right? So just noticing how certain protests or rebellions or major social movements are making you feel throughout this time, this second third of June. All right, moving on to the last third of June. I bet you the Knight of Pentacles is going to come up. Oh, we've got the Fool. So more Aquarian energy. This is, yeah, very Uranian, Aquarian. I'm just going to let my freak flag fly. The Seven of Cups, some choices for you to make. And the Five of Swords. Wow, it's really it's going to test your ability to reframe the way that you communicate with yourself. Your indecision is coming from a place of self-criticism at the end of June. And this is the beginning of Cancer season. So it's really about looking within and what you feel. And remember that Saturn went retrograde pretty much at the beginning of the month. So looking at the karmic lessons that you are learning and how listening to your body, listening to your emotional responses is going to benefit you in the end. By just dancing, when you feel like dancing, you're going to find a lot of freedom. This anguish that is happening is from your own hands. Shift the way that you are thinking about it, shift the way you are talking about it, and then you'll feel like you have a more decisive nature about you. Wow, this reading came through really strong. I hope you stuck to the end. Let's pull one Prism Oracle card, see what we get from here. Pile one, the color for you. Interesting. We got anxiety. And anxiety, you know, I am actually looking at the shapes of these squiggles. It almost looks like a really diluted version of the Aquarian symbol that's like all flat, wacky, and I don't know, crisscrossy, zigzaggy, I don't know. And so the anxiety also, Aquarius has so much progressive energy, has so much forward-thinking energy, and it can become restless because we're not in the future yet. So just consider how your life would be different or how your anxiety could be eased if you simply accepted that you're living in the present moment, that you're not living in the future. You're not constantly seeking the future and hoping for the future to happen now. This High Priestess being right at the center of it all. This is a huge moment for you to sit within and to see what it is that you need, to see who it is that you are, how you can really connect with you on a more spiritual level, more soul-based level. All right, pile one. This was incredibly powerful. This just like came right through. None of this was me. I just felt like your guides were just here. So I'm sending you guys a lot of love, and I will see you next time. Bye. All right, pile two, you chose this card, which is Clear Quartz. I have clarity in all aspects of my life. That is the affirmation that came with this card. Pretty cool. I like that you chose Clear Quartz. It sort of covers all situations. It's all about just seeking clarity and coming back to center, right? Clear Quartz is like that beginner crystal. It's what always brings us back to our basic, to our foundation. But not just foundation in the way that like red is our foundation, our security, our root, but the clearness of the Clear Quartz is like bringing you from your foundation all the way up to like your divine center. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull some cards for the themes of June. See what is coming up for you throughout the month of June. You've got the Queen of Wands. Let's see what else we got. Oh, this deck really wants to be used right now. I can feel her. Whee! Sorry. Oh man. All right. Let's see. Okay, there it is. The Queen of Wands and the Five of Wands. Wow. Definitely getting the energy of collaboration and ego coming through. That this month of June is a big one for you to communicate with yourself. Do I actually think that what I want is right, or do I just want it to be right because it's mine? Maybe if you're finding yourself collaborating with other people as well, how much of what you are fighting for is because you think that's what is needed or that is the right way to go, versus are you fighting for it just because you want to win, because you want it to be you, right? How much of your ego is playing a role in the decisions that are being made when you're collaborating with other people? So making sure that confrontation is coming from a place of wisdom rather than from a place of ego. I also think that there are places for you to shine this month, that you do need to really showcase yourself. You do need to be in the spotlight. this time around. Usually I get Aries energy from the Queen of Wands, but this one I am getting Leo. I really am getting Leo, and I think it's because of this Five of Wands, is they are all getting an equal footing. They are all getting an equal voice, but there's somebody in here who knows the right answer and she's not speaking up for herself. So I think this month is a big one for you to discern, is this a moment for me to speak up for myself, or is this a moment where I'm letting my ego take over and I should just let what's right come through? Which is interesting because we do have Saturn going retrograde, and I'm curious where Aquarius is in your chart, or any of the fixed signs even, or maybe even any of the air signs, basically any of your placements. But where Saturn is affecting you here, when it goes retrograde, it's almost asking you like, okay, it's time to be the grown-up here. Are you just letting your inner child who wants to be seen no matter what you're doing? Are you letting that inner child take over? Or are you allowing yourself to see what's actually accurate here and to know what is the best way to progress, like an Aquarius? So it is sort of that Leo-Aquarius axis fighting against each other. Collaboration, cooperation, confrontation. Let's see what the first third of June is bringing you. First third of June for pile 2. Let's see. The Six of Swords and the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, that's so interesting. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed by the prospect of new projects. Let yourself indulge in the beginnings of projects, right? Gemini is a mutable sign. It's flitty, it's flaky even, but in that flakiness, it's a jack of all trades. Master of none, but jack of all trades. It has an interest in so many subjects. So let yourself go on the surface of many things in the first third of this June month. Let yourself try out new things. Have an adventure, seek newness, seek adventure, seek fun. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed by this need to adventure. I feel like maybe you're taking things so seriously, like you have that fixed energy that I was talking about earlier. The fixed energy is making you want to like commit and do things and follow through on them. But you're being asked this first third of June to just see what it could bring, right? In a light way, bringing the lightness to life. When Mercury goes direct, it's not saying, great, now you can sign that contract and commit your life to something forever. It's saying, okay, you've reflected now. What actions do you think you're going to take? It's not saying go ahead and take action, even though Jupiter in Aries makes us want to take action. Because I do feel like if you do make any strong commitments at this point in the month, you're going to feel overwhelmed. Any decisions that are made in June 1st to June 10th, you are eventually going to feel like you are drowning, like you are being knocked down, or kicked when you're already down, essentially. And so instead of indulging in that stress, say, hey, you know what? I actually don't want to be stressed right now. I'm going to step away from this, and letting the surface be the surface, right? Don't be hard on yourself just because you are not committing and following through. Don't think of it as quitting, right? Just think of it as knowing that it's not worth your time and energy. I want to pull one more card for this first third of June because I do feel like there's something else. I like to pull 3 in these. Ace of Pentacles. Yeah. I think it's important for you to ground yourself in this first third of June. And I know that kind of goes against my don't commit to anything, but it's almost like ground yourself in that. Don't get lost in a daydream. Don't get lost in a new project saying this is going to be the rest of my life. Say, hey, you know what? This is just a hobby. This is just something I'm doing to enjoy myself, to have fun, for lightness, right? That Ace of Pentacles is grounding you and saying, hey, you don't have to make any intense decisions now. You can just exist. You can just be present and live in that beauty of your life, of the present moment. All right, pile 2. We're coming back to this everyday witch. Or not pile, well, yeah, pile 2, but second third of June for pile 2. 3 of Wands. Oh, okay. 3 of Wands, Wheel of Fortune, Page of Cups, and we do have another guy that I'm going to flip over in a sec. This 3 of Wands, the second third of June, so from June 11th to June 20th, that is when I feel like you are allowed to make decisions and take actions. And listen, I'm just a tarot reader on YouTube, so if you're like, you know what, I'm going to make a decision in June 6th, then you go ahead. But if you're taking, if this reading is really resonating with you, that first 10 days of June, let it be what it is and don't make any commitments. The second third of June, this is when you're allowed to dip your toe a little little bit more. That there is fortune and blessings that come from the decisions that you make in this second third of June. This Three of Wands, she's taking action. She's saying, listen, I don't really know it all, right? Because we also have this Page of Cups. Doesn't really know it all. Not a super experienced artist in this case, but trying anyway, doing it anyway, and just jumping in to one thing at a time. Don't overcommit yourself, but maybe make a commitment to one thing. You also have the Wheel of Fortune, and this Wheel of Fortune I always think is interesting because the arrow, this little tick thing, is pointing to the house. So home life, security, your need to feel safe, your like that home, feeling safe in your own skin, feeling comfortable in your own skin. And I also see that like letting go of the need to control your situations, you know? I mean, maybe she's the one who stopped it on home. She's like, no, you know what? I only want safety. So maybe letting the universe take the wheel. And let's see what this was. The Chariot. Yes, that you don't have to know what is coming up for you. You don't have to know what path you're going down. Just trusting that the universe has your back, trusting that your life's path will show itself to you and you will go down the right path when you need to. That you don't have to be aware. You don't have to have all of the information. Again, you don't have to have control over everything. Just dipping your toe into some things in the second third of June. Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, and then last third of June, June 21st to the 30th. Okay, well, these three cards just like fell right out. 4 cards. We've got the High Priestess, connection with self, connection with the divine, 10 of Wands. Something is going to be feeling burdensome around this time. You've got the 2 of Cups and Justice. Wow. There is such a balance between 1 and 2 in this last third of June. Like your dependence on your relationships, your dependence on other people's validation is really going to come up in this last third of June. And I think you are learning this karmic lesson of being your own validation, of not feeling like a burden to others, of not burdening yourself with other people's opinions, of letting yourself be assured. I mean, you've got the 2 and you've got the 11, right? And so these are both, they reduce down to 2. It is about your relationships. It's about your emotional, empathic, intuitive self. And it's also about you being a spiritual master. 11 is the number of spiritual mastery, of connection with the spiritual world and showing others what it means to be spiritually aligned, spiritually connected. And also being a teacher, showing others the balance of life, that just to be spiritually connected doesn't mean that you have to be living in the spirit world all the time. In fact, it means that you are being a human who understands the connection to the spiritual world. So I feel like this last third of June, when we get into Cancer season, is going to be a really important time for you on an emotional and spiritual and divine level. Okay, now we've got the Prism Oracle, just to see a little message, see if there's anything extra you need to know. Mystery. Yes. Surrender to the mystery of life. You don't have to know it all. And also, not everything is as it seems. You may think that you're going to be having that, you may feel like you're being set back this month, but really it's you moving forward. This Chariot energy is really coming forward. And the fact that it was upside down, the fact that I couldn't even see what it was until I flipped it over, just said, trust. Just trust that the mystery doesn't need to be solved and that the mystery is there to help you and to propel you forward. Wow, propel is really coming through. Does anybody remember those Propel drinks? Comment if you remember those. Anyway, propelling you forward and pushing that progress on you without you even realizing you're making progress. Sudden changes, sudden breakthroughs, sudden growth. That's what's really happening for you this wanting Remember, collaboration, cooperation, confrontation, ego versus righteousness, shining versus wanting to shine, wanting to be seen versus letting the right thing happen. So again, the control aspect of I need to be the one who propels me forward and that causes my own progress. That's really not the case. And if you jump into too many things, don't forget, you're going to be in this overwhelmed state. All right, pile 2, sending you guys a lot of love. I hope you have a wonderful month and I'll see you next time. Bye. All right, pile 3, you chose this green crystal, which is actually called Hiddenite. I am grateful, and this loving energy fills every single cell of my being. That is the affirmation that comes with this crystal. So gratitude being a major theme. And the fact that it's called a Hiddenite to me is so interesting, that you're keeping your gratitude hidden, almost like it's hidden from yourself. So we'll see how that shows up in your month ahead reading. So let's see, major themes for this month, for June. What is coming up? This guy. There we go. Wow, the 7 of Wands and the Queen of Cups. Wow, this Queen is incredible too. Look at them. I love this Queen of Cups. And the 7 of Wands. Both of these cards are incredibly colorful. So I almost feel like this month is going to bring you so much color, so much vibrancy, so much, just so much. A lot of different energies that are stimulating you. And so you may find yourself to have a lot of mental stimulation, a lot of physical stimulation this month. And it might overwhelm you. You might result in some restlessness or anxiety or unease. But really what you're being asked to do is to use this unease, to use all this stimulation, and to form a very unique version of you. Letting yourself be incredibly unique this month, letting yourself express how you're feeling on the outside. I almost feel like you're being called to like dress up how you're feeling on the inside, using the external, the skin suit that you have to really show and symbolize and demonstrate to others who you are internally. Because I think you're having an internal battle about how you present yourself and how you show up in the world. Wow, so much Aquarius energy is coming up for all of these piles. It really feels like having to show up as yourself, non-conformity being a major theme for you. Letting yourself really shine as a colorful queen. I also think if anybody here is like queer, to like shout it out. So let's see what the first third of June, from June 1st to June 10th, is bringing you. Interesting. Wow. So every single pile has gotten the High Priestess. So it seems like everybody is being called to de-stimulate the external, or like release the external stimulation and just go within, right? Because Mercury is going direct, which means that we are no longer in this like reflective place, but then Saturn is going retrograde, and it's sort of saying, okay, these karmic lessons that you learned, what you reflected on, are now being ushered within, that they really need to be listened to, not listened to in a physical, logical way, but in a more receptive, generative, feminine, divine way. So we've got this High Priestess, connection with your ancient wisdom, especially when you're feeling mentally overwhelmed, mentally overstimulated. This is an end of a mental cycle for you. Think about these like thought patterns that you've been having recently, and maybe how Mercury retrograde brought miscommunication into your life, or how Mercury retrograde showed up for you. And think about those spirals that no longer are necessary, that those were survival techniques from the past that you don't need anymore. And take ownership of your actions. This beginning of June, you've got King of Wands here, really taking ownership of your actions in a responsible way. I've always thought that this King of Wands is the earthiest King of Wands I've ever seen. He literally has Saturn in the background. He's got all of these twigs. Even his wand has some leaves coming off. So he does have this earthy nature about him. This King of Wands, he knows what he wants, but he knows how to practically go after it. So letting yourself go within, dipping your toes in the water, having a grounded responsibility to take the right actions for yourself. And I think a lot of this is about your mental health. And even if it's not mental health and that like your mental disorder that you have, it's the way in which your mind is being so stimulated this month. And it makes sense because we do have so much going through Gemini this month, but about reconnecting with that divine feminine within you. Even if you don't identify as female, that you still have a divine masculine and a divine feminine within you. And so really connecting with that internal feminine magic that you have within you and cutting out these old thought patterns that do not serve you anymore. 2nd, 3rd of June. Let's see what you got. 2nd, 3rd of June, June 11th to June 20th. Okay. Well, you got the Wheel of Fortune and you've got the Hanged Man. Both of these cards, when I think of how they relate to each other, they say, let go. Let go, and I don't use this phrase for myself, but I've heard it being said, let go and let God. So if that resonates to you, that's why I was just told to say it. But let go and let God. Let the universe take over. That these delays that you're feeling right now are actually part of a larger plan. Plan with a capital P. I don't know. There's a lot of religious imagery that's going through my mind right now. So if you find yourself to be religious, or you're dealing with some religious trauma, or religious trauma in your sexual identity, but also in how you identify as a religious person, that maybe you have been Christian or Catholic or whatever for your entire life, and you're finding this more individual spirituality, that you're kind of working through some religious trauma. Because I do keep having like God, plan with a capital P, like his with a capital H. I'm really getting a lot of religious imagery in my mind right now. And it's almost like release that trauma. It's about releasing that trauma. It's about releasing these old conditioned mental patterns or thought patterns. And this 2nd, 3rd of June is all about release and surrender, and letting the delays present themselves as productive. Whatever you feel is really slowing you down this middle of June is actually what is giving you progress, what is actually pushing you forward in life. And the Wheel of Fortune actually came up for pile 2 as well. So I think it's interesting that the High Priestess is coming up for everybody. We got the Wheel of Fortune in 2 of these piles. And this Hanged Man also, let yourself hang out, chill, relax, slow down. You don't have to have control over everything. You don't have to know what's going to happen every minute of every day. Release and surrender is the major message for the 2nd, 3rd of June. All right. And last 3rd of June, let's see what comes up for you. I'm going to put those back. It just feels too soon. 4 of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, and Temperance. 4 of Swords is a card of rest. The Ace of Pentacles is a card of a new, slow, and steady journey. That by resting, by allowing yourself to rest, you are actually, this is a catalyst for a new, powerful, and profound journey for you. That by slowing down and letting yourself be slow, not judging yourself for being slow, you are actually facilitating the slow and steady wins the race energy. And you also have Temperance here. And Temperance is made up of a 1 and a 4. 4 is all about, and you have a 4, and you have a 1. So really, that's so funny. Gosh, I feel like such a dork when it comes to numerology, but you literally have the 1 of Pentacles, the 4 of Swords, and Temperance is a 14. Oops. So 1 and 4. So if you have any synchronicities with 14, 1, or 4, let me know in the comments, because this definitely applies to you. And normally I would reduce Temperance to 5, but something told me, no, this is 1 and 4. It is not 5. And 1 is about a new journey. It's about a beginning. 4 is about sorting things out, but also building a foundation. 4, I credit it to Taurus energy, because it is slow, but it is hardworking, and it is putting in very good, diligent work, just at a slower pace. So what's going on under the surface, this High Priestess, the Wheel of Fortune, the Hanged Man, everything is happening under the surface for you. It's not your actions that do it. It's actually your inaction that causes progress for you. So take that however you will. I'm feeling very passionate about these messages. I hope they made sense. Let's pull a Prism Oracle card. See what comes up for you. I swear if the Faith card comes out, Intuition, pretty close. Yeah, you are really connecting to a more individual, intuitive self. And especially for any of you, like I said, that are dealing with more a religious background or like a sanctity background, I really feel like it is about connecting with your own self, your own inner God, your own inner divinity, which seems to be a minor theme through all of these piles, is really trusting your own inner voice. So that's really, really beautiful. And it's purple, so it is about divine. It's royal. You are a queen. You are the Queen of Cups. Let your freak flag fly. All right, pile 3. I'm sending you guys a lot of love. I hope that was helpful. Let me know in the comments below what resonated. And I'm sending you guys, just like I said, so much love. I'll see you next time. Bye.